AVC Mazzy's Whack-A-Mole, number 26, I believe. I think. I pick 5 random records and I showcase them, give them a little spiel about them, either personally or historically. So let's go. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Number 1, James Brown, Live at the Apollo. Now this particular copy, this album was long out of print, and this is a version of the mono. And this was on a small indie, one of the first small indie labels out of San Francisco called Solid Smoke Records. When I worked and managed a store called the Record Factory, which was in San Francisco, it's a small regional chain of about, I think it grew up to about maybe 15 stores, give or take. Later sold to the Warehouse Corporation, but I worked there in from 74 to 78-ish, give or take, and right by Golden Gate Park. And in the balcony of our store, we were in an old Bank of America building, a Bank of America bank, and we go downstairs in the old vault, which is in the basement, and smoke reefer during our breaks and things. Hey, this was the 70s, and we were in San Francisco. But anyway, in the balcony, there was a balcony, and we leased a space to some guys, and it was called the Used Record Shop. It ended up having 2 or 3 stores eventually, but this was the days when new record stores did not sell used records. They were just 2 separate entities, and anybody that did sell used records was a specific shop, for the most part. I'm sure there are examples around the country that you're going to correct me and add those in the comments. But anyway, the guys at one of the owners and another guy started a label called Solid Smoke Records. And originally they started out putting out a few reissues of vintage material. This was the first one they put out. It was I'm thinking around 75 or 76-ish, Solid Smoke Records. The mono version of this album, they also put out a Johnny Burnett record. They did put out a few original things a little later, including Roy Loney and the Phantom Movers albums. Roy Loney was one of the original lead singer of the Flamin' Groovies in San Francisco. They put out his record. So the Solid Smoke, this is my copy that I got from the boys at the Dime. Local label, great reissue stuff. They went to the master tapes. They were sort of the first guys that I know that were really into doing the mono versions of things, because that whole period in the late 60s, early 70s is a whole thing about electronic reprocessed stereo crap. But Rico T and Marty Arbanich were the 2 guys that put this out. So it's a great collection. If you ever see it, pick it up. Obviously, since there have been reissues, this is a period of time too when the labels, really major labels especially, didn't really understand their whole reissue library and unreleased stuff. So it took indie guys, girls, indies to put out stuff like this. But cool collection. Mini LP, the Style Council. You probably know the Style Council. It's Peter Wilson and Paul Weller. Never saw the Style Council. I did see the Jam. He's from the Jam, obviously. Style Council. Then, of course, Paul Weller's solo records. They were kind of more poppy, cafe style, kind of easy groove listening. The Style Council. I'm trying to think of the genre. You guys would know, especially Brit guys, but who are really into them. It's interesting how Paul Weller was never as big here as he is in the UK. So he wasn't. I have a few friends that really got into it. In fact, a friend of mine gave me his entire catalog last year, some reissues, because he found a bunch of originals. So I love that. I did see the Jam. I love the Jam records, and I got a little into the Style Council and like this stuff. I'm trying to think. This is like early 80s, I believe, 83, 84, give or take. So there you go, Mick and Paul. Mick and Paul, that's right. I'm sorry, Mick. I was wrong. Anyway, Style Council, Paul Little Records. You know what this is? Without me showing it. REM Green, produced by Scott Lynn and REM. It's actually, I really like this record. I don't play it a lot. I did when it came out, and this is one of those friggin' records, this issue, I believe, that doesn't have the fucking track list on it. Excuse my French. And I'm blanking out. You know, is this the one with, oh, here we go. It's like minuscule. This is the bullshit. This is where you can't read what's on a record. Is this the end of the world on this? And Frequency Kenneth? No? Is that on this one? You know, Superman? No? Don't you hate that? I used to know all these records, and now they kind of are a blur to me. But anyway, Green, I do like this record. I have no idea what's on it right now, so I failed my audience here. You know it. You know it. All right, next one, number 4. Atlantic Collection, a 70s copy I have. The Best of Sam and Dave. Old I'm Coming. This is a great album, great collection. The whole produced by Jimmy Stewart and Isaac Hayes, and a lot from Isaac Hayes, Jim Stewart. But a great overview of their R&B stuff. Really great soul men of the day from the whole Atlantic Records stable of soul artists, along with obviously Aretha Franklin and Otis Redding, and this is a great comp, really good. This one is a stereo version, and this is the typical 70s Atlantic label we all know. Okay. The Limeliters. Limeliters were late 50s, early 60s folk group, the old kind of folk thing, typical harmonies, trios, like in the vein of like the Kingston Trio and the like. And that was the time before it was more the old kind of traditional folk songs for the most part. Gunslinger, Western Wind, Hard Travelin'. You know, I'll be a hard traveling kind of person, man, thing. Kind of before it really changed and evolved with Bobby Dylan and the whole protest movement that really kind of gave the folk music movement a little edge. Just kind of reminds me of, before my time even, sort of the college folk scene, sort of the post-beatnik thing, and kind of, in a way, happening around the exact time of the whole beatnik era in the late 50s, early 60s, as things were changing. But, you know, the very kind of clean-cut college musicians. Not to say that was, you know, anything wrong with them, but I love this kind of folk stuff too. I mean, if you look, well, Al Schmidt's recording engineer. Anyway, what can I say? Glenn Yarborough. I forgot about Glenn Yarborough. Was in this band, who made a lot of solo albums after that. Probably his most famous, one of his most famous, is "Baby, the Rain Must Fall." Is that from the Tuesday Weld the Steve McQueen Tuesday Well film. Baby the Rain Must Fall, great song. It had that kind of warbling folk voice of the time. So that's Mazzy's Whack-A-Mole number 5, but I'm not finished here. I think I'm gonna do 5 more, because sometimes you're in the mood. We're playing this French espresso CD comp called Espresso in the background, if you can hear it. 5 more, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5. So we're gonna, this is a 10-fer. This is like a 2-for-1 sale, like bargain basement bins, digging. Replacements, Let It Be, my original copy from the 1980s on Twin Tone Records. This was going for a lot. It's funny, all of a sudden, I noticed this was going for a lot a number of years ago before they reissued them. I think the originals are still somewhat, this is a pristine copy, but you know these guys from Minneapolis. Punkish band, great band. I saw them once around this time when they toured the Bay Area, when they came through. So, okay, let's go some Zydeco music. You like Zydeco? Zydeco, Queen Ida. Queen Ida a la mode, and this is on GNP Crescendo label. This is a album from 1977. It's got like Frisco Zydeco, La Voix. You know, the whole Zydeco thing is almost like a New Orleans soulful, jazzy polka kind of style of Zydeco music. Accordion players like Clifton Chenier is in that genre as well, and great stuff. But Queen Ida is one of the kind of, it's basically the queen of Zydeco music. Wow, produced by Al Lewis, engineered by Grady O'Neill. Tiki Sound, San Jose. It was recorded in San Jose, it looks like. Wow. Enrico, oh, some Bay Area stuff in San Francisco, which is interesting. I'm just rambling to myself, but Queen Zydeco, if you like the whole Zydeco scene of New Orleans and artists like Clifton Chenier, you need a Queen Ida record in your collection. Blues vinyl guy might know about him, about her. Some of you more traditional fans and even fans of obviously our Hooley records, Smithsonian Folkways, things like that. You might be into her, but this whole kind of rootsy genre is a personal favorite of mine as well. We all know, all you psych guys, psych punk guys know the Stooges. Produced by John Cale, Iggy Pop before he was Iggy Pop. God. Ron Ashton, Dave Alexander, and Scott Ashton, but 1969, that's, I mean, 50 years, right? That song, though, 1969 is great on this album, but kind of great Electro Records. One of my favorite bands, because I say that a lot, and I probably shouldn't, because a band I really like a lot, to put it that way, and I saw them once, is Traffic. Traffic, this is sort of the little, not the first round of Traffic, this is when they kind of pulled back and got back together again after Steve Winwood's Blind Faith period, and this is probably 74-ish, 73, 74. But they still had Chris Wood and Jim Capaldi, plus several other new artists. You know, the original first 2 albums, Dave Mason was in the band. Those are 2 of my favorites, especially the second album, which is their self-titled album. They did 2 albums in a row. This one, Low Spark of High Heel Boys, and Shootout at the Fantasy Factory, that had these kind of, that this was cut like this, which is kind of interesting, 2 in a row. My other one's a UK copy. But it's really a good record. Low Spark of High Heel Boys. They got a little more into their jammy, long song period here with a little jazzy fusion. I saw them at Winterland. It was a whole Island Records bill. John Martin opened, the band Free, you probably know, with Paul Rogers, who later headed up Bad Company, but Free was the center, and then Traffic was the headliner. But I enjoyed this record. I still like their first two, are my favorites. Actually, first three. I like John Barleycorn Must Die as well. Those first three are probably, as far as I'm concerned, are must-haves for a rock collection of Traffic. Okay, and lastly, number 10. We're going to the whole new wave thing. This is actually a promo copy. I did get it in the day. And Bram Chukowski. The whole new wave pop thing going on. And what was the hit here? You guys are going to tell me. You're yelling it out. Is it on this album? I don't remember now. Strange Man? No? Only Dance? I don't remember. Bloodline? I don't know. But new wave, Bram Chukowski. I think he had a couple, 3 albums maybe? And had a disappear. I don't know whatever happened to him. I really didn't follow his whole career after this album. But this is a promo I got, and this was also through Radar Records, which was Elvis Costello's manager's company. But Polydor issued it in the U.S. You know that. So that's Mazzy's 5+5 whack-a-mole extra innings, as we say. That's because we were tied score in the 5th inning, and even though I wasn't excited about my initial 5, I went with it because I don't stop and start these things, and I don't want to cheat you out of the randomness of these things. So anyway, Mazzy loves you, and thanks for watching. Thanks for enjoying. I hope you enjoy Whack-A-Mole. I hope you enjoy these random things of me showcasing my collection. So thanks, and happy August. Take care. Love you.